Right, so since the last update, what we've done is I have cut out the remaining rock from around here and knocked up a filler piece that will go in there. I'll chuck some photos in of it, kind of mocked up in place. And we have cleaned up the B pillar here, or the base of it, cleaned up the bits where I'm going to be spot welding in and seam welding in the inner sill. We chiselled out all of the old stuff, so we've got that fitting nicely in there. Knock that down a little bit, cleaned this area up a little bit ready, because there's obviously new section needs to be put in there, but having this back in will get the strength up. Cleaned up the A pillar, just loosely clamped it in place. I've cut out quite a bit of the arch, but couldn't quite get round to chop all of that. And then gonna mark this up for drilling. Just see on camera, they're drilling spot weld holes through there, and we'll also fully sort of seam weld it down each side there. Because there's no door on at the moment, I used a little trick to make sure it's lined up properly, because there isn't really any kind of points here to use for reference. So if you stick an angle finder on there, when it settles down, it sits at about 2 degrees. It does when it settles. And I cross-reference that measurement to the other door, which is all still in place. So therefore, if my calculations are right, when this is all welded in place and the outer sills put on, the door will still fit, he says. Famous last words. We have also marked out a cut to run across here. Made a decision that I was gonna actually take out the whole of the lower part of this cross member here, including all of the rotten bits around there, so when it comes to it, I'll brace this up a little bit, jack under the floor, or weld another brace in the other side just to solidify it, because I'm going to be cutting through the last remaining bit of strength that's holding the centre spine up. It's pretty solid at the back, so it should stay exactly where it's left, but you never know, belt and braces. So what I've got is this nice panel over here, which is another of those Ribo Italian panels, and what I'll be able to do is cut it about there, because I don't need all of this bit's all fine, so I'll cut it about there, and then I will butt weld it up against what remains of the cross member there, so we won't lose any strength across there whilst we're removing it, but we will have the lower edge of this toe board all replaced, and it has nice turn down flanges on the end, which means it's going to fit nicely where I have to rebuild the inner part of the arch. So main job for today is to slice or drill some holes for spot welding, plug welding, and actually get this inner sill in, because once this inner sill is in, we'll have enough strength, we'll be able to take that out when the time comes to start fitting the outer one. That's not going to be for a while, so we'll do this and we'll move on to cutting out this area, and putting in the new cross brace toe board area in there that the floor pans will fit to. So we're just going to stick some tacks in there for the minute, just to kind of hold it in place first of all. it's just kind of held into place now. So now what I do is actually start doing some of the spot welding, which I've got a proper plug welding nozzle. I'm not going to bother actually filming it because it's just kind of more of the same, but we'll have a little look at what the finished article looks like. Okay, so we chucked a few spot welds, plug welds along here just to hold that all in position. Inner to outer sill. So I need to finish off around here, and then I'm going to start tacking in sort of seam welding around there. Just got to reshape a little bit around there. Well, we got decent penetration on there, nice flat welds, so it's all good. Well, I didn't bother filming all of this because basically I can't video and listen to tunes at the same time, because YouTube gets cross with me for violations of copyright. So therefore it's one or the other, and I wanted banging tunes today. But we're all welded in at the A-pillar, got all of our spot welds, plug welds along there, and we're now welded in along that seam. There's spot welds there for the minute, but sorry, tacks, I beg your pardon, along there for the minute, because I need to jump around because it warps a little bit. Just need to sort of dress that area out a little bit, but the whole thing is now structurally sound. We're just going to spot weld along the bottom here as well on that part of the floor, and then the floor pan forms the rest of it. Okay, so we've trimmed back the toe board and cut the spare to fit, and I'm just overlapping it slightly at the joint there so that I can do some plug welds and seam weld it along there rather than just butt welding it. Obviously I'll make sure I seal it up properly so that it doesn't become a water trap, but I don't want to just butt weld it because it's part of a structural piece, and as you can see where I've sort of pulled back the floor here, the floor overlaps and then welds along here, so it does need to be strong. Obviously there's a few bits that need to be sort of trimmed back around there where that bit in the centre spine's a little rotten, but it's looking okay. And if you get underneath, let's go underneath from the front actually. You can see it will fit in nicely exactly where it's supposed to be, giving us a nice flat floor. So the angles on here are really bad, but you can also see why I needed those rather large welding clamps to hold that all in place. So we're going to drill some holes, and then we're going to do a bit of cleaning up and start plug welding that in place. Okay, so it all been braced up. We've plug welded it in a few places there and kind of stitch welded it across the top, so it's solidly in place there. Another little infill bit in the corner. Haven't done that side yet, but you can sort of see where, beg your pardon, excuse the sniffing, where the floor will mount to that when that's actually welded in place properly. So we've now got structure back at the toe board. I would lay the floor in this side, except it looks like the floor panel that I have is the wrong one for the car. Looks like I've got one for an earlier suicide door one. Doesn't quite line up, so I'm going to have to buy another one, because those flat floor ones have slightly different shaped rockers, so sill panels I should say, we are in England, and it doesn't quite line up. So another little look at that, and should hopefully have a fix. Okay, well, we'll leave it there for the day. It's shown a little bit of progress anyway. We've got the sill in, inner, outer, all welded in properly, and we've got the toe board in, ready to kind of mock up the floor as and when those pieces arrive. So you know, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, or leave me any comments, and see you hopefully in a week or so with an update, and maybe even getting a floor pan in.